The question, of course, is, especially for you here, since you've had a series of lectures called Scary Movies about Fitna, whether there's still anything interesting to say about Fitna. There's this lecture series, there's been, I would call, nauseating public debate in the spring, in the news media, that's news media. There's a national Fitna lecture organized by the University of Groningen. So not only journalists but also academics have jumped onto Fitna to discuss it, to analyze it, to deconstruct it, so to speak. And my little contribution to that debate, and a very young contribution also, it's still in, what we would say in Dutch, the kinderschoenen, baby shoes, I guess. My contribution will be about the videos that young people uploaded to YouTube in order to respond to Fitna. And my question to that body of material of video clips are, there's three questions actually. One is, does that material differ from the news debate? So does it offer new angles towards the discussion about Fitna, new topics, new styles? The other one is basically descriptive. What kind of videos are there on YouTube? Could we categorize them into specific genres maybe? And the third question is, how can we proceed from this initial analysis of the YouTube films to a larger research project? Right, well, let's begin with a little bit of an overview about the news battle. As you may remember, this whole thing started almost a year ago, on November 28th of 2007 in the Dutch newspaper De Telegraaf, which produced an article called Provocerende filmbeelders, Provocative filmbeelders. As you remember, probably there was an enormous amount of news following that, lots of discussion, and there's an institute in the Netherlands that follows Dutch press coverage of particular issues. It's called the News Monitor. It's funded by the Dutch Bedrijfsfonds for the Press. It's a funding agency for the industry, for the Dutch Association of Journalists and the Dutch Association of the Daily Press. They fund this News Monitor and they did an analysis about Fitna. And this is the graph, one of the graphs they produced. And what they observed is that Fitna was a news item for 4 months, even before it became a film. And the news started on the left hand of the graph with the announcement of the movie. Then there's a second news wave somewhere in January, where the graph goes up a little bit again. And that's when the Dutch cabinet expresses its concerns about the movie and where actions are announced. The third news wave is the whole discussion whether Fitna should be banned or not, and the whole discussion about freedom of the press. And then finally, the last top in the graph is when Fitna is actually distributed end of March 2008. So that's more or less the news graph and the way it builds up towards the actual appearance of the movie. Now, what was characteristic for the news battle, so to speak, I'm sorry that all of this is in Dutch though, is that news coverage was very much based on what journalists call newsworthy items. So maybe from the outside we would have the idea that the whole discussion was a bit of a hype, everybody talking with each other, about each other, without much real news going on. But what the News Monitor found is that it was real, in journalistic terms at least, news, meaning that the news coverage was built on an announcement by Geert Wilders, or a fact created by Geert Wilders, and then other politicians or public actors reacting to him, but reacting in a much stronger way than the initial announcement or statement by Wilders would justify. So it's news by Wilders and public reaction, political reaction on these items, but then the reaction itself would sort of blow up the coverage. As it says, de reactie krijgt de meeste aandacht. Interestingly, the news is about Wilders himself and the various reaction from Islamic countries, from Muslim groups, etc. on the film. The news is about whether it should be banned or not. And the news is hardly about Islam. So Wilders' purpose with this film, to start a discussion about Islam, failed at least in the Dutch national newspapers. There was a big discussion, but it was about something else completely. Now, most of the coverage was found by the Dutch News Monitor in the Telegraaf, Trouw, het Reformatorisch Dagblad, Protestant Reformed Daily, and the Volkskrant. And most critical perspectives were found in het Algemeen Dagblad and the Volkskrant. Now, just to give you one example of how this news debate played out, I'll show you a clip from the debate in the Dutch talk show, evening talk show Pauw en Witteman, right after Fitna was published. It's a discussion between Siska Dresselhuis, who is the main editor of Opzij, and who is famous in this debate for not wanting women with headscarves in her editorial group. Salah Edin, who is a Dutch-Moroccan rap musician, who looks very much like Mohammed Bey, the assassin of Theo van Gogh, and who mistakenly ended up as Mohammed Bey in Fitna. You all know that. So he's there. And he sued Geert Wilders successfully for that. There's Paul Scheffer, who is there on the picture. I guess you all know him. And then there's also Robert de Brink. I don't think we will see him in this clip. He is an entertainment host. But in case you wonder who is that there in the corner, then that would be Robert de Brink. Just a couple of minutes. Yes, there. To show you what the Dutch debate was about. And I'm sorry, that is in Dutch.
Bijvoorbeeld? Ja? Nee, ik dacht het niet. Ik denk dat het gewoon belangrijk is dat Korankritiek, al vragen die daaromheen gesteld kunnen worden, onderdeel zijn van het publieke debat. Geert Wilders laat een reeks staan, bekende beelden zien die onaangename waarheden laten zien. Namelijk dat er mensen zijn die met een beroep op het geloof op de islam geweld rechtvaardigen, daden van geweld plegen. Laten we het er vooral over hebben. Kijk, mijn probleem is dat die film onderdeel is van een politiek project. En dat politieke project gaat veel verder dan die film. Korankritiek is één ding, maar Geert Wilders pleit voor een verbod op de Koran. Kritiek op de moslimgemeenschap is één ding. Nee, maar het punt is, die film dient een doel. En dat doel, dat wordt niet in die film geformuleerd, maar dat formuleert hij wel als politicus. En daar zou ik het over moeten hebben. Geert Wilders eist vrijheid van meningsuiting op, en terecht. Maar wil die vrijheid van meningsuiting voor een belangrijk deel van de Nederlandse samenleving, namelijk de moslimgemeenschap, ontkennen. Geert Wilders zegt, ik wil de Koran verbieden. Geert Wilders zegt, ik wil niet dat er moslims in de Nederlandse regering zitten. Dus hij wil ook de politieke rechten van een deel van die Nederlandse gemeenschap ontkennen. Daar gaat zijn politieke project over. En als dat werkelijkheid zou worden, wat ik absoluut niet denk, maar dan zijn wij heel ver van huis. Dus mijn probleem is niet met die film op zichzelf, hoewel ik ook vind dat daar elementen in zitten. Bijvoorbeeld zijn portret van de moslimgemeenschap. En dan zegt hij van de islamisering van Nederland. Kijk je allemaal beelden van de sharia. En dan zegt hij, ja, ik heb kritiek op de islam. Het gaat niet over moslims in Nederland. Maar wie zou dan anders die sharia in Nederland moeten door gaan voeren dan uitgerekend de moslimgemeenschap?
Vraagteken achter.
Ja, er staat een vraagteken achter. Maar de suggestie is natuurlijk toch dat we hier te maken hebben, als we niet uitkijken met een vijfde kolonne, van mensen die eigenlijk in meerderheid een wetgeving geïnspireerd op de islam in Nederland zouden willen doorvoeren. Maar waar het mij echt principieel om gaat, is dat er een groot verschil is tussen aan de ene kant het debat over de Koran, over de islam. Problemen in de moslimgemeenschap moeten we het vooral ook over hebben en niet te bevangen daarin zijn. En je ziet de verleiding bij de regering om dat heel snel te censureren. Ik vind dat we dat niet moeten doen. Maar aan de andere kant moet het veel scherper weersproken worden, waar hij gewoon essentiële vrijheden in Nederland ter discussie stelt.
Okay. I think the point is clear from this fragment. It's about Wilders and his political program, which should be discussed more fundamentally, as Scheffer says. It's about the film itself. The discussion is about whether it should be banned or not, and it's not hardly about Islam and Islam critique, although he mentioned it at the beginning. So that is the context of what you could say official public debate about fitna, what's going on in the official institutional public sphere in the sense of Jürgen Habermas. I'm not sure, I don't think I have to explain quite a bit of that, but the interesting question for me is what goes on beyond this official public sphere. What is the more ordinary, popular discussion about fitna? What are the voices that are not heard in the public sphere? And what do they say? Interesting element of this News Monitor report about fitna is that the main actors in the news were politicians, public representatives, but as usual, not ordinary citizens. And I hoped, or we hope to find some of these ordinary citizens in the video debates. And we called it Battlefield YouTube. And one of the things that was interesting in the middle of public controversy before the movie was launched is that a Dutch new media organization, Mediamatic, launched a campaign called Sorry Fitna. And their purpose was to invite people, young people in particular, to make as many movies as possible, upload them on YouTube with the tag Fitna, Wilders, what have you, in order for people to make or to be unable to find the real movie. So there's a loads of titles then called Fitna, the official movie, and when you click on it, you find something completely different. So that was their first purpose, to make it more or less invisible for internet users. And the second one was to give people an opportunity to express an easy sort of access. So they had a number of events, one event on the Dam in Amsterdam where you could make your own video and they would upload it for you and put a stage, one event in their own building near Central Station in Amsterdam. And I'll show you one of these videos just to also so that you see the complete difference between this and the official public debate. Guys who really want to say, I'm sorry, I don't like this, but don't obviously have the vocabulary of the public sphere. But still, this is now this offers them a possibility to intervene in the debate, at least, and show people that they have their ideas as well. Now, there's a load of other videos as well. So if you would go to YouTube or Google Video, but I went to YouTube, and type in fitna as a search term, you would get on Monday, last Monday, you got 6,760 hits. And if you combine that term with fitna movie, it becomes a little less, 3,070. And if you combine it with fitna Wilders, it's over 2,000. That in itself is not so surprising because other researchers have identified YouTube as a particular medium for Islam discussion, for Muslims to upload their videos, their performance of their religion, their discussion about their religion. And there's a thesis by Leila Mozenjitsvili, master students of our ours who did an analysis of all the Islam videos on YouTube in a particular period, and she found that at least every month 4,000 clips about Islam are uploaded on YouTube. So YouTube is, as some of the anti-Islam actors would say, is a medium for Muslims to discuss their religion and their experience. The question, of course, is, do these videos about fitna constitute something, what you could call a video sphere? So not a public sphere in the Habermasian sense, but a video sphere in which visual culture is used to debate public issues, in this case the whole fitna issue. Is it a video sphere like that? Is that a video sphere that is similar to the public sphere, or is it possible to raise different topics? Is it possible to talk in different styles? Well, the Sorry movie already suggests that it's possible to participate in that video sphere in different styles. So that is the question to that body of material. Now what we did, and this is the initial stage of the research, we have to elaborate it, but what we did is we made a list half a year ago of all the fitna titles that were on YouTube at that moment. And we used several research terms, fitna with Wilders, fitna with movie, fitna with Islam, etc., etc. So we had a rather complete list. We took a selection from that, and on a bottom-up, with that bottom-up method of constant comparison of this video, we made categories that look a little bit like this at the moment, but we're still working on that, so the categories might change again if we add new films. Now the first one is the Sorry video. You saw that one. There's a couple of them testifying on the success that Mediamatic had with setting up this activity, this protest. And it's interesting to see that the particular Sorry movie relates very much to social movement politics in the way that YouTube offers a new resource to organize protest and to show to the large public that this protest has a wider basis than just simply one person uploading a particular video. So the Sorry video places this body of material also within the context of social movement research. Now a second type of video that we found is what we call deconstruction. And these are videos made by people who say, well, if you look at fitna, it uses all the classic elements of Nazi propaganda, of propaganda in general, and it shows how text and images and sounds are combined together to present a particular bad image, negative image of Islam. So in this kind of video, there's actually a visual analysis, a textual analysis, like the ones we do in class with our students, trying to show to people how this fitna video is manipulated in order to present a negative image of Islam. The third category, and I will show you this one, is the parody. There's loads of them, of course, making fun of Geert Wilders, making fun of the movie itself. The one I will show you is from a Dutch, I'm not sure whether you should call him a comedian, Paul Hanen, who is one of the actors behind Sesame Street in the Netherlands. And he is the voice of Bert, and he has made a Bert movie against Fitna, which will be hard to understand for non-Dutch speakers.
Lekker kut! Christelijk slapper! Rotte vis, hangreep, lul! Of christelijk lekker, zoals ook mensen zeggen. En doodwensen. Stoephoer. Wat leuk, hè? Mensen kletsen. Het zijn maar altijd vaak klootzakken. Voordat gaat die mensen die mij beledigen gewoon uit de Ik heb momenteel 34 liquidaties op mijn naam staan en ik ben nog niet klaar. Wat zo? Weet je wat ik ben? Daar gaat de maatschappij aan kapot. Achter, daar lach je toch gewoon om. Als Wilders zegt dat de Koran verboden moet worden, dan ben ik gekwetst. Het zijn maar altijd vaak hypocriete klootzakken. Ze staan van de lichaam. En dat Hitler een vredesduiveltje vergelijking met die autostoontje. Het schat hem ook zo van Wouter Bos die aan de kant van de zogenaamd gekwetste ging staan. En die vieze, gore kant van de gekwetste. Daar gaat de maatschappij aan kapot. Dat is leuk, hè? Hou Nederland gezond en beledig waar je maar beledigen kunt. Maar dan ben je toch niet door gekwetst? Kom nou. Alles en iedereen wordt tegenwoordig zo serieus genomen. Probeer te lachen. Yeah.
Okay, so that builds on the whole aggressive debate and the kind of language that Wilders uses and that anti-Islam activists use and that sometimes Islam activists use as well, and the kind of rudeness in public debates. And there's more parodies, but I thought this is a particularly Dutch one because of the dominee Paul Haan who launches this. Now, one of the most important, and I think on the basis of the initial analysis, one of the biggest categories in the videos is the Bible variety of Fitna. People making Fitna-like movies, but with Bible text. And the Bible text that you see, I wasn't raised religiously, so I have no idea, but I saw many Bible texts come by that were really very violent, but they were the same time, the same ones all the time, from Leviticus, and you'll see which ones. This particular one has these images of fighting animals, by which they try to make the connection between violence among animals and the Bible. There's other ones of that I couldn't find for this presentation. But there are other ones that use other visuals of Christian violence, Christian fights. I'm a Christian soldier, but then you would see the soldiers as well. But using exactly the same kind of visual manipulation that is present in Fitna. And that is a very interesting anti-Fitna video, which uses the same quotes all over again. And so there's probably a repertoire of violent quotes in the Bible where you can draw from and put them on YouTube. I'm going to show you 3 more. This is a particularly eerie one. This is the support video, which is hard to find on YouTube, but I did find a couple of them.
I'm Bill Keller, founder of LivePrayer.com and the host of the Live Prayer with Bill Keller television program. We have a very disturbing situation that has occurred in the last 24 hours. Recently, Dutch politician Geert Wilders created a movie, a 16-minute movie, showing accurately what Islam is all about directly from the Quran, their holy book. Most places wouldn't air Wilder's movie. Finally, a British video hosting company, Lively, decided that they would. Wilder's film on Islam was on live link for approximately 48 hours, with over 3 million people watching this movie to understand what Islam is really about. Because of death threats, threats to have their property blown up, intimidation by Muslims, Lively chose to hold the movie. Currently, there's only one place in the world that you can find Geert Wilders' movie, Fitna, and that's at LivePrayer.com. I've put that movie up on my website, despite the death threats, despite all of the heat that it's brought, because people need to understand what a tremendous threat Islam is. There's no such thing as good Muslims and bad Muslims. That's a myth. They all read the same book, and if they follow their book, the Quran, they are required to kill all infants. This is an important movie that you need to see. The link for the movie is www.liveprayer.com/Fitna, F-I-T-N-A. Just as disturbing as Islam itself is the fact that they have intimidated internet sites, hosting services around the world, not to show this movie, in an attempt to keep the truth from the public. Sadly, Lively chose to cave into those intimidation tactics. Live Prayer will not. You can see this movie at www.liveprayer.com/Fitna. That's F-I-T-N-A. It's an important movie. It tells the truth about Islam that everyone needs to see. God bless you.
So here, putting up the Fitna movie on the Live Prayer website functions in the performance of heroic masculinity, not afraid for death threats and Muslim threats, etc., etc. And it is a very clear support for Geert Wilders. It also links back to the public debate about freedom of speech again. 2 other ones, because I want you to get an idea of the enormous variety that is on YouTube and the difficulties that presents for making a systematic analysis. I'll come back to that later, but you need to see the whole thing here.
Hi. I'm not a terrorist or a date merchant. I don't live in a tent or keep my wife zipped up in it all day. And for the record, I knew who she was before I married her, too. I have more than just white robes and sandals in my closet, and I've never actually rode a camel before. Ever. Even though I'm sure they're great animals and all. I do know someone named after me, but it's not the guy from your economics class, so stop asking. Falafel actually is not my favorite type of food. I don't know how to even tie a turban, and I've never worked at a gas station or driven a taxi cab. And I don't think you're an infidel either. I believe in peace, I believe in people of all different religions and beliefs living together in harmony like the early Islamic Arab, Ottoman, and Spanish empires. And trust me, I would go back to my own country, but I'm already in it. Muslims were the people who created some of the world's most beautiful architecture, who invented algebra, calligraphy, astronomy, geometry, and the modern numerical system. Not the Greeks, but Muslims. And you know what? It's pronounced Islam, not Islam, but Islam. And a real man fast and isn't afraid to pray wide open in the wall, regardless of the look people are giving him. And he doesn't get nervous about washing his feet in a public restroom sink. And yes, that is the Quran I'm reading, because I don't care if I'm in an airport, because it's the greatest book ever. My name is Muhammad, and I am a Muslim.
And many more of these. This is a particularly funny one, but there's also a very serious one, but they all have in common that ordinary Muslims, young Muslims, men and women, say very proudly, I'm a Muslim, but it's also very clear that they have to defend themselves against, or they feel the need to defend themselves against the stereotypes they encounter in the media and that are so much part of Western culture. Now the last one is one that really puzzles me, but that we did find quite often actually. And these are testimonials of people converting to Islam, but not simply people, but women converting to Islam. And not simply women, but well-educated women. And there's a number of these videos. A judge, for instance, a professor, an English CEO at some point, who very happily say, I've converted to Islam and it's been good for me. And you'll see one of these here.
It's 1 p.m. in Mission Viejo, California, when Angela Collins answers the call to prayer. It's her second prayer of the day, and following custom, she'll pray 3 more times before the day is done.
Now I have this belief, and I love my belief, so I have to respect it and follow the rules. The rules are not easy to follow.
Angela is Muslim. She has been for almost 5 years. Raised Catholic, she learned about Islam after meeting Muslims while traveling overseas. She converted just 2 months after September 11th, a time when the war on terror was almost synonymous with a war on radical Islam.
I saw a very dark persona of Muslims in general to Americans, and I realized it was so far removed from my actual experience abroad that people had to know this is not who they are. This is not how they are.
There are an estimated 1.3 billion Muslims worldwide, and most are not Arabs. Here in the United States, while the Muslim contingent numbers an estimated 7 to 8 million, it's growing rapidly. 20,000 new converts each year, 4 times as many women as men.
In the Quran, it says that women were created independently of Adam, that Eve was an independent creation of God. And so for a lot of white American women, that really appeals to their sensibilities of equality, and it's very liberating for them. Maybe I won't be focused on
Julia Roach converted to Islam after being introduced to the religion by her husband, Chris. They weren't married at the time. He is also an American.
When I found out he was Muslim, I told him, I believe right away, I will never become a Muslim. I will never cover my head. I will never be this person. So don't ever ask me to be that person. And he never did.
But she did have lively discussions with him about religion. She was raised a Christian and said she converted after she was able to see past the stereotypes and learned about the values of Islam.
The concept of freedom and liberty of each individual person and the rights of each person, and that's all wrapped up in the theological teachings of Islam as well.
Yes, I'm an American. I'm very outspoken. I'm pretty assertive and very happy person. And it's not the typical stereotype that people see with a Muslim woman. We're going to eat green eggs and lamb.
5 years after converting to Islam, Angela Collins is now the director of an Islamic school. It took her a while to get used to wearing the hijab, but now instead of being a fashion emergency, it's become a fashion accessory.
Yeah, people looked and they were curious, but they never a lot of the times they didn't realize I was a Muslim wearing hijab. They thought, oh, she must be some French designer coming up with a new fashion.
It's not a new fashion, but maybe a new face on the world's second largest religion. George Lewis, NBC News, Los Angeles.
This last one is also an example of the next category, the news copies. Those are copies of news items like this one that people upload in order to make their statement on YouTube. But they usually don't change much about it. They just pick it from regional television or from international television or from directly from Dutch television, then it's usually not very interesting. But there's a lot of that around as well. Now finally, what all these films have in common, although it's a big diversity, is that they share the tag Fitna, or they share the tag Fitna in Wilders, or they share the tag Fitna in movie. And interestingly, there's a last category that has the tag Fitna, but is not at all about Islam or Wilders or politics or whatever. So there's, for instance, an example of somebody uploading a little movie about his dog, and his dog is just sitting there and hanging around and doing nothing. And it's a particularly ugly dog, and it's an old dog. Nothing happens for about 30 seconds, but still, if you look at the tags, it says Fitna. And obviously, there's somebody there who wanted to be part of this effort to bury the movie in other movies in order to make it hard to find. And there's a number, and that makes this whole body of material so puzzling. Because apart from what you could say are sort of substantial categories that we need to analyze in more detail, but you get these other movies as well, and then you have to make sense of what they mean in the whole body of material and the whole video sphere debate. So I'm really interested in hearing your comments about this first group of categories and the movies and the ideas you get from seeing all this. Doesn't mean I don't have my own ideas here. So I'll give them to you, because otherwise I will be very lazy with you. First question would be, what kind of argumentation do we find here with these videos, in these videos that we don't find in the ordinary news debate? And do we find different topics? Do we find different styles? Now, what struck me, and I've of course seen many, many more little clips like this. What struck me is that there's much more about religion, how people experience their religion and defend their religion, than there is in the official news debate. And you saw that with the conversion stories. There's a category of films that basically say Islam is beautiful and it's peaceful, and it's accompanied by peaceful images of flowers and people hugging each other. So that kind of argument is absent, seems to be absent in the official public sphere, whereas it is a very dominant part of this discussion. Simply people performing their religion, and also through very personal stories. So what you find here is not only a public debate, but also a space for the performance of a religious self. And not a religious space, but a public space. And of course, in the whole Habermasian public sphere theory, that should not be, at least in the official public sphere, that should not be possible, because it's supposed to be another sphere. Religion is supposed to be part of private life with no place in the public sphere. Whereas what you see here is that people really want and need a public space to perform their religious self. So that is one element that struck me in all these films, and that has to do with the content of the movies. A second one is that in terms of style, lots of these clips are more or less self-reflexive. For instance, in the I'm a Muslim clip, there's a reflection of this. The guy is not only saying I'm a Muslim, but he's also reflecting on stereotypes, on his opposition towards these stereotypes, etc., etc. There was a reflection also shows very clearly from these clips that are part of deconstruction, in which they analyze the Fitna movie itself. But there's also a lot of reflection involved in the Bible varieties, of course. You have to be able to read the visual language of Fitna in order to make a Bible variety. You have to recognize what is going on there first before you can make this alternative. So in terms of content and style, I would say that this video sphere contains unique elements that you don't find in the news battle or in the official public sphere. Now, another question, of course, which is related to the idea of the public sphere, is this video sphere accessible for everybody? That we would need a bit more analysis for that, but from the research on Islam on YouTube, there is a predictable dominance of men uploading these videos and fewer women. There's a predictable dominance of younger people, less older people. And the question is whether that's particular to the Fitna debate or whether that is connected to YouTube and the internet in general. Right, now the last question is whether there's actually a debate going on in terms of videos discussing with each other. There is an option in YouTube to upload a video directly in reaction to another one. And you then get a subtitle on YouTube saying this video was placed in response to that video. That doesn't happen very often in the Fitna case. In the literal meaning of debate, of people engaging with each other through visual means or by talking to each other, then there's not a debate going on. There's simply a collection of videos that do not literally directly communicate with each other. On the other hand, if you would be the visitor to YouTube checking all these videos, then you get a debate by simply consuming them one by one. So the question is, for further discussion and analysis, what kind of debate is going on? Right, now by way of conclusion, I'll just tell you what we intend to do with the list of research. So the categories that I showed you here, which are still, they're not prioritized, they're not weighed, it's not in sense this is more important than that, it's a very basic beginning analysis. What we're going to work towards is a better typology of these videos in which there's two dimensions. One is the dimension of the performance of the religious self, and the other one is the dimension of the visual debate, and whether that is really a debate or not. A second thing that we're going to do, but that I haven't talked about at all here, are the motives and the meanings that the users that upload these videos attribute to their videos. Why are they doing it? Have they done it before? Is it a one-time event, or is it part of their YouTube channel, etc.? And we get this information through the back pages on YouTube, and we intend to do some email interviews. And finally, I've now made a comparison, very rough comparison, of the video battle with the news battle, the official public sphere battle. The last thing we want to do is to compare the videos, the outcomes, with online discussions in textual forums, and particularly blogs and forums, to again find out whether there's something special to visual culture that frames these debates and makes it different than, for instance, written debates. I've put in a bid with the English Research Council. I was very early with that, because I thought if I start in January in England, I would like to have some money already. Then I got it back, and they said, you are not employed in England yet, so you can't apply. And then my new bosses were so kind to write a very pressing letter saying that I should be allowed to enter the competition. So I hope I get some money for that, and I hope here to get some extra ideas for you. Thank you.